All right, well, hello and welcome on the Kodiak Broncos Podcast, and today I'm here to talk about the 2019 Broncos Draft Class and what grade did I give it. But before we get into it, I just want to say a couple things. First of all, leave a like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're not already. You'd always wait till the end. Hopefully I have earned it. And yeah, this is actually a scheduled post. I'm not going to be around tonight to answer your comments, but hopefully I can get to them tomorrow. I'm just really busy tonight. So, looking back as to where we were at the time this draft class took place, I want to remind everybody about the 2018 Broncos. The 2018 Broncos, in my opinion, that was a really, really fun, especially for the dark times, because A, we had Linsanity taking over the Mile High City. B, we had that game where Shelby Harris literally ended the run of the Killer Bees when Ben Roethlisberger threw the game away against them. C, we had some big wins over the Chargers that year. And we should have had a big win over the Chiefs, but once again, we just couldn't connect to finish the game off. And yeah, overall, I thought the 2018 team had some scrap to them. I thought, even though it was the first time we had suffered back-to-back losing seasons since 1960, I thought it was really, really impressive what happened, considering what we had at the time. And now you look back and you're just like, okay, we really weren't that good. But yeah, overall, a lot of people thought we had a solid team, but it was just marred by Vance Joseph as a head coach, which is very true. Vance Joseph has grown leaps and bounds tremendously as a coach since then. And you know what? Some dudes just aren't meant to be a head coach. Hopefully he does get his shot in the NFL for his sake down the road as well. But yeah, overall, another thing we did this offseason was we picked up Joe Flacco, and I absolutely hated him. Looking back on it, I wish we never brought him in. I wish we kept Keenum for one more year. A lot of people don't think Keenum was that good, but I think he was our best quarterback since Manning. In between Manning and Nix, which is not saying a whole lot, but there were a few games where he legitimately won for us. So I'll rest my case. Wink, wink there. All right, time to talk about the actual class itself. Noah Fant, 20th overall. I get why they really liked Noah Fant as a prospect, and he did have a really interesting profile, especially because this was kind of the era where you started to see tight end prospects get picked more and more in the first round again. Just 3 years prior, we had Ingram, we had Njoku, we had another guy who I think I'm forgetting on. But in the same draft class, we had Fant and Hawkinson as well. So I get why the Broncos liked him as a prospect. His athleticism was off the charts. And as a receiving tight end, I can get why they really liked him. But for whatever reason, it just really hasn't come together for him in the NFL, despite the fact that he is an athletic freak. I think he's 6'4", 250 and runs like a 4.5 flat or something like that. And Noah Fant had finished with 562, 673 and 670 yards very quietly here. Like, looking back on it at the time, I'm just like, wow. There were some times where he was our leading receiver, and I'm just like, when have we had that from the tight end position? And he has had some production dip in Seattle, which is really strange to me, considering overall, I think they are a much better offense, or they've been a much better offense than we were when Fant was in here. Seattle is better now than we were back then. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I guess it does make sense that he had to split the field with weapons like JSN, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett. But yeah, overall, I don't know. I thought Fant would have an uptick in production if you had told me that Geno Smith was going to play as well as he had over the past few years. But yeah, once again, Noah Fant was the guy who the coaching staff never really seemed to have the favor of. And I think it's because he never really developed as a blocker. And I don't think, a lot of people have said that he didn't care about football. I don't think that's true at all. Fant is a fantastic media guy. He's a fantastic community guy, and that's something you really don't find in dudes that absolutely despise football. I remember he was on Stokely and Zach every single week for like 3 years at a time. So yeah, overall, I thought it was really, really odd that Fant never really developed or progressed into what we thought who we could become. Sorry, had a little stroke there, but yeah, overall, we took him to be a difference maker, and he just wasn't. Like, I don't know. It just kind of boils down to that. He looked like he was on the up and up, and then he just never really materialized. So that's a little interesting. Dalton Risner, 41st overall. A lot of people thought Risner would go in the first round in 2019, and me included. I remember sitting in the library with my boy Andres my senior year of high school, and pretty much all we would do is watch like mock draft stuff. And I really liked Risner, especially because this was, during peak Linsanity run. This was peak Philip Lindsay run, and I was like, why not get more guys from the state of Colorado? And Dalton Risner, the Wiggins, Colorado product who went to Kansas State, was a legit NFL draft prospect at the time. And once again, had an extremely promising rookie campaign. Thought he was a great prospect. Never developed. It's just like, dang, even with the acquisition of Mike Munchak that same offseason, I was like, wow, he's going to do wonders for Dalton Risner. and he was, I guess, the a mainstay on our lines from 20 to 22. While Bowles was still kind of finding his footing in the NFL, or he didn't really have his mega breakout until 2020, but Reisner had always done a great job, in any role that he was given. But I don't know, he just never really stuck out to me as like a guy who played beyond his draft capital or played beyond his expectations. Like, that's just what I'm trying to say. I felt like I never really thought about him as a core dude at the time. I never really thought, okay, this dude's a difference maker for us. While he does profile well in some PFF pass protection metrics, I never remember him being that good of an offensive lineman. Like, it's just another really confusing story as to why he never developed and why, like, what is the intangible stuff that's making him a free agent for so long every single offseason? Like, does this dude need to fire his agent? I don't know. It's a little interesting. Like, I can respect his contributions to the team. My high salute for you, Dalton Reisner. You are a local kid, and I appreciate you giving us 4 years of your very best. But once again, he just never became the player that we thought he could, and then some. It felt like there was always a little left on the table when it came to Dalton Reisner. Uh, I don't know. Can't explain it. I guess if there's one thing to pinpoint, it's that everything in the building went to hell when Pat Shurmur came in. All right, Drew Lock, 42nd overall. So he started out white hot. I mean, we went 4-1 at the end of that year, and granted, we did get a little lucky in doing so, but he was in the Will Levis territory where, all right, if you show something, you're going to get the chance to be the guy. And that's often the case with early second round quarterbacks. We'll see what happens with Tyler Shaw this upcoming year as well. But we tried to use the 2020 draft to build around Drew Lock, and it just didn't work out. We threw a lot of resources and hedged a lot of resources into Drew Lock being the guy that very offseason, and unfortunately, it just didn't pan out. And, Lock was given his opportunities, so it was just like, I don't know, he just never really ended up being that good. Did we have the real infrastructure in place? No, not really. Like, we had some decent skill weapons here and there, but also, like, when I think about Drew Lock's time here, he was being coached by so many different offensive coordinators, and the head coach clearly did not like him. Apparently, Vic Fangio never liked Drew Lock due to the arm sleeve. But, Drew Lock was always that Jameis Winston kind of guy where he played very, very, very reckless at times. And you know what? I remember seeing a quote by Lock that one year that was like, all right, sometimes when the ball leaves my hands, I'm like, oh no. And I'm just like, that is not something you want to hear from your franchise quarterback whatsoever. Drew Lock did have some flashes, and he was just not it at all. Like, I don't know how anybody could go through that season and be like, yeah, Drew Lock had showed that he deserved another chance to be the franchise guy. But listen, man, I will never ever defend Teddy Bridgewater. I will never defend the process of starting Teddy Bridgewater over Drew Lock. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous I think it's still ridiculous how much love Teddy gets considering how little he actually accomplished here. And yeah, I thought the game-winning drive from Drew Lock was last year or 2 years ago when he was with Seattle against the Eagles was far more spectacular than anything Bridgewater had accomplished here. And yeah, I'm just never going to defend the process of that. I thought Locke should have been the guy in 2021, and I thought Fangio did it to try to save his job in a very pathetic attempt, and it just didn't work out. A lot was riding on Drew Lock to be the guy, and this is the hidden cost of whiffing on a trade up. You did not have a third round pick, or you did, but you didn't have a fourth round pick. You didn't have a seventh round pick, and I think you did move back a few times in the fifth and sixth when you traded up for Drew Lock with Cincinnati, I want to say. So yeah, that's just the hidden cost of missing on a quarterback is you kind of throw a second round pick down the drain. All right, Draymond Jones, 71st overall. This is a guy who I thought could go much sooner in the draft that year as well. And he developed really nicely, and I really liked his ability, particularly as a pass rusher. As a run defender, I remember not always being too happy with how he played, but, he was an upper echelon rotational defensive lineman, but he was never a game wrecker. I think about John Franklin Myers, and I think that John Franklin Myers is basically an upgraded version of what we had with Draymond Jones back in the day. Was Draymond Jones a solid guy? Yeah, absolutely, especially for, being a third round dude, and especially for being an anchor on that defensive line for a handful of years or so. And yeah, overall, he was just never a game wrecker, though. Like, he never really had the ability to take over a game. He could make his plays on his own, don't get me wrong, but I felt like the flashes just weren't really consistent enough for somebody who you'd want as like an every down defensive lineman. But yeah, now he's on a prove it deal after being cut by Tennessee this offseason. I remember a lot of Broncos country was upset that we let Draymond Jones move on and we opted for Zach Allen instead. And you could see how that worked out. Like, once again, nice pick for the third round. But, when Draymond Jones signed for more than Zach Allen did with Seattle, and then we were able to get Zach Allen to come here, ultimately, yeah, I don't know. There's just no regrets with how anything had panned out. But as far as his contributions with the Broncos, I thought he was pretty good. Justin Hollins, 156th overall. So it's really hard for me to give an F to a fifth rounder, but when you trade up for a quarterback, like I said, mistakes are magnified. He only lasted with Denver for a single season before getting cut. He got cut in September 2020, which means he was with us for like a calendar year, and that was just kind of it. And I don't disagree with the thought process behind the pick. Like, it's all right. It's like, all right, we need some rotational depth behind Justin Hollins or behind Von Miller, behind Bradley Chubb, especially because what's his name? Shane Ray had been shown the door, and we obviously lost Shaq Barrett that offseason as well because he was never going to get a chance to play. So, kudos to Shaq Barrett for making it work. But yeah, overall, the thought process behind the pick is we thought Von Miller and Bradley Chubb would absolutely wreck, and we needed a rotational guy around him. So that's basically what I'm trying to say here. He became a nice depth contributor for the Rams during the Super Bowl run in 2021 and 2022. But yeah, I don't know. He just never really panned out here either, like, at all. I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about him. Same with Juwan Winfrey, man. Once again, it's another pick where it's magnified due to a lack of resources. And once again, it's unfair to put real expectations on a 6th-round pick, but he's only had 9 career catches, so I don't really just have anything creative to say about him. Like, I don't remember anything about him as a prospect. I don't remember him being at CU at all or anything like that. He got cut after 1 year, which is the same as Justin Hollins. I think they actually got cut on the exact same day, but he had minimal production at CU. He had 350 yards in his second and third years in college, and he didn't develop into an NFL mainstay either. I know a lot of people were just like, wow, we took a buff. That's awesome. But I don't know. It just never got going or any steam whatsoever. So overall, I give this a D-. It just wasn't a good class at all. Draymond was the only good pick relative to cost, and the only guy who I legit thought we made back our draft capital investment in. And when you trade up for a quarterback on day 2, you just strap yourself thin with resources. And ultimately, that's just what happened here. And yeah, overall, I just think that Jack Daniels was probably the winner over John Elway here, unfortunately. And I was really happy with this class at the time. So, even though I was 18 years old and I don't know, maybe I was drinking a little too much blue and orange Kool-Aid, stay open-minded, even if you like or dislike a class when it comes out initially after the draft. So yeah, it's an easy at the time class. It's easy to look at what we were doing at the time, but now it's just like, ouch. Every pick, I'm just like, that really was not that good. Outside of, once again, Draymond. But yeah, so that basically does it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Mile High Salute.